Good evening and welcome to an episode of the Silver Line series titled A Worthy Conversation. I am your host. My name is Joaquin Zaidan and I'm co-hosting with Azza Al-Hassan. So to start with, I'm just going to give a context for this talk. Myself, Azza and Abdullah Shami, the three hosts of Silver Line, we started brainstorming the concept of the Silver Line community back during COVID time when everything was almost on full lockdown. And we realized that there was a need of bringing this community together in different ways. And one of the concepts we've had as part of the discussions with different groups of people was that how can we kind of get everybody to collaborate? And hence the cooperative model came into play as part of our conversation. And this model was something that we've had for a very long time. But nowadays with technology, how can that be revisited and reinvented? So as part of our research, we came across the concept of MoneyFellows, which we are about to kind of discuss right now. And we thought that MoneyFellows has a very nice approach to it. And it solves different cultural and social aspects that come with the concept of the cooperative. So to start with, I would like to welcome Mr. Ahmed Wadi, who is the CEO and founder of MoneyFellows. Ahmed, thank you for joining us, and it's lovely to have you with us. So,
thank you, okay.
So to start with, Ahmed, the most obvious question to start any conversation with a concept as such is that what inspired you to kind of come up with this idea? Back in 2016, I believe, right? So it's been some time now.
Yeah. All right. So the story basically, I lived in Germany for a while back in 2016. At some point in life, I was actually trying to access some capital. طبعا beyond طبعا قفلت all the credit limits that I could with the banks or the credit cards. You know that there are situations in life
We've all been there.
at that point of time the only solution كانت موجودة أو في my mind was I've always seen الجمعية دي model الجروب informal group lending and saving وكده, and how it actually really helped a lot of people in those situations بس فمن هنا طبعا I بعد struggle back home with friends and family, بس طبعا until I found one, it was a completely painful process. I almost call everyone that I haven't spoke to for years مثلا just to ask them if they can find me one back home. after I did transfer بويسترن يونيون اللي كان بياخد اصلا نص القسط making sure I was always on time. It was an extremely painful process. I decided to build a platform so that I would never need for myself and for anyone else that would probably need the same فمن هنا جت الفكرة إنه why can't I just see it on an app, ألاقي a network regardless of where the location is, regardless of whether I have to know them or not وكده. خلاص أدخل ويعرفوا أنا مين we connect me with a few other people that are also looking for similar payouts in different dates and so on. بس من هنا this was the main reason why I've thought about this model.
Okay. And you basically come from a developer's background, so you kind of built the whole platform from scratch in terms of development, correct?
The first prototype, أسوأ prototype anyone would ever seen compared to طبعا what we have today. The very first prototype was I did it myself وبس I tried to make it work هناك وكده, and this how I used the knowledge شوية في شوية programming وبتاع إن أنا أطلع زي فيه at least.
Okay, nice. And you mentioned that you started this off in Germany, right? And I'm not sure,
صح.
have the Germans ever heard of the concept of the Gameeya or the cooperative, our way, I would say?
Never, never. This was one of the يعني most painful things اللي هو يعني أنا جربت يعني أشرحها للناس. يعني أنا مش لاقي people that understands it to join circle with me.
Okay.
I tried a lot يعني to try to introduce it to people who يعني Germans أو Europeans عامة. After 5 minutes of explaining أو 10 minutes of explaining how it works وإزاي وهنعمل إيه وكده، السؤال الأساسي اللي هو كان دايما بيتقال لي فاروم، ليه؟ why؟ بالألماني. كنت تتعقد الكلمة دي يعني عامة. بس فاكشلي الكلمه دي كانت تاثر فيا، فاهم؟ the question of why دي بدات تحس طب هو does it even make sense for me to even launch a platform to digitize. فلا it was extremely difficult انه الناس تفهمها، الناس اللي هم ما يعرفوش او
Yeah,
it's not in their culture
it's an
for them
alien
to really
concept. Yeah.
understand. It was an
I
alien
mean,
concept.
although in a way the cooperative model exists in Europe, but probably in different formats where it's more like for agriculture and teachers and all that. It's more like funds, I would believe. But in the concept of the Gameeya or the cooperative model that we have in this part of the world, that's a different approach. So basically you took the concept from Germany and then you went to Cairo. I mean, usually we kind of do the reverse. We kind of escape the Arab world and go to Europe to kind of set up business. But this time you kind of moved your business to back home, back to Egypt. So how was this shift? How does this process work?
So before Cairo يعني كنا متمسكين قوي ان احنا لا let's keep it in Europe for now. يعني احنا فروحنا UK. يعني we actually started MoneyFellows مش في ألمانيا. يعني ألمانيا was just the idea came up هناك وكده، حاولنا عملنا prototype. It didn't take us like 3 months to recognize انه this will never work in Germany. فقلنا UK is a fintech hub، فيها Asians، فيها African population، فيها عرب. فقلنا لا it might work يعني let's go there. Funding, access to funding, regulatory framework established وكده. قلنا خلاص يعني خلاص هي UK.
Yeah.
رحنا UK. But it was برضو طبعا there were يعني a type of segment that we could يعني offer our solution ليها يعني. بس setting up a company from scratch in a market that doesn't have this يعني the biggest pain في الحتة دي. يعني حتى anyone that knows the model still has access to capital through a loan, through a bank, which is very cheap, accessible. Everyone has a credit score. PPA loans. There are so many different options for الناس. فاكتشفنا it doesn't only necessarily يعني have to be people that knows it، بس برضو يبقى the pain كبير enough انه to attract people to use your solution يعني. فبس جينا بعدها we moved from the UK. كان رحنا UK، رحنا startup bootcamp fintech في لندن، وده it was like an accelerator program done by MasterCard وLloyds Bank وRabo Bank وكده. as soon as we graduated we tried بقى ان احنا we launched it هنا في مصر. فجينا مصر بقى من ساعتها ويعني the difference يعني لا هنا في مصر it was getting back to your question يعني لا Egypt things were يعني surprisingly much simpler. It's easier I think here to set up a company. It's cheaper to build a team. I mean, especially talking about our model, you say جمعية online، ما بيقولوا روم بقى وواي وبتاع. هو جمعية online. ايه الضمانات؟ يعني بيدخل على يعني
directly to the core
في الموضوع على
importance.
طول. ف it was a good يعني thing. خلاص ايه الضمانات دي هنعرف نرد عليها eventually. هنتصرف وهنحل الموضوع فبس
طيب very good.
it made sense. I mean it made sense يعني ان احنا to launch هنا.
all the factors came together in the right place at the right time, I guess.
بالظبط.
Yeah,
بالظبط.
nice.
People understand it. People بيواجهوا مشاكل بيعملوها، ما عندهمش access to capital, unbanked population. الحاجات دي كلها مع بعض خلت إنه this is the best environment to start with يعني.
Nice. I'm going to ask you now a very obvious question. And, I was one of the people who is not familiar even with the concept of the Gameeya in general. Okay, so I'm going to ask it on the behalf of those also who don't know the concept. So how does it really work in real life as a concept, Gameeya? Just give me like a simple story of how it could work.
أنت مش ألماني صح؟
لا الحمد لله. Bad, not yet.
ماشي in general يعني بص الجمعية دي زي informal saving and lending concept يعني done collaboratively between people. Usually how it works in let's say 10 friends, family members يعني المهم ناس يعرفوا بعض, trust each other, أو واحد trust التاني trust التالت and so on. المهم بيبقى في connection one way or the other يعني.
Okay.
They come along together. They all agree to pay like a fixed monthly installment كل شهر. let's say احنا 10 كل هدفع 1000 جنيه كل شهر. at the end في 10000 جنيه صح؟ 10 بيدفعوا 1000 each, في 10000. one person gets it at a different month. فاحنا we agree ان وكيم takes it الشهر الأول, عزة takes it الشهر الثاني, أحمد takes it الشهر الثالث and so on. So يعني هنا في at least in the region they pre-select مين هيقبض امتى وبس, وبتبدأ السيركل و it ends لما كل حد يقبض الدور بتاعه. they usually repeat it بقى تاني once خلصت بيعيدوها من الأول وجديد, and it's a continuous habit. People are always يعني with the same group of people كده continuously يعني doing circles.
Okay.
This is how it works offline.
Thank you for explaining it to me. So in this case, I mean, if it's already there, part of the culture, and people are already doing it. When you were in Germany, you there was a pain point, and you needed a Gameeya there to kind of help you financially. So you had to come up with this solution. But in Egypt, it's already happening.
صح.
Why do they need the app? What is the app really solving in this process?
بالظبط. اوكي فهنا المشاكل اللي بنحلها هي imagine you're bound by now that you know يعني how it works. Imagine you're bound by a list of people that you trust who are geographically close to you. واحد عايز 10000, واحد تاني عاوز 20000, واحد تاني عاوز 30 في جانيوري, وانت جانيوري محجوز. the smaller the more limited the options of people are to join circles with, the probability انك تلاقي exactly what you're looking for is almost like 10%. يعني ما بتحصلش يعني you never find a circle كل الممبرز فيها مبسوطين و this is exactly for the time. It never happens. You end up joining it وخلاص. الميعاد اللي مش مناسب ولا الاماونت اللي مش مناسب, that's the only option and we'll do it. Well, a lot of people actually get forced يعني when يزنوا عليهم صحابهم please join this specific slot ومش عارف يعني a lot of people يعني it ends up كده. ومن كتر ما الناس مش بتلاقي الجمعية في النتورك بتاعتهم they end up joining circles with people they don't necessarily really know. fraud cases بتحصل. finding a suitable circle with within that limited number يعني of friends or family or work colleagues or whatever, finding the suitable one is very difficult. Plus imagine managing it. يعني حد خلاص الجمعية بدأت we're 10, مين فلان اللي هيدفع, ده دفع ده ما دفعش. There's usually one volunteer بيقعد يجري ورا الناس asking people to pay on time. It's a completely painful process for that circle manager as well. ده غير بقى الفراد when it's not scalable والحاجات دي كلها. that's why we're digitizing the model ده, because we think the offline model is unscalable. It's not safe. It's not easy to find a suitable circle. where it's very hard to track عامة once that circle has been created. So that's the reason why we're digitizing يعني الجمعية عامة.
Okay, nice. It's interesting how technology is solving those kind of issues of trust, geography, conflict resolution, delayed payments, and all that. And so let's say somebody on your app, defaults on payment. What happens there?
So on our platform,
yes.
you mean?
So you have one money circle on your platform.
Okay, so in our
what happens?
Yeah. On our platform احنا we filter people, we assess people's financial health capacity. فكل واحد يعني في أول phase of filtering we're minimizing the risk as much as possible based على ال credit scoring model that we've built. زي أي يعني بس احنا we've built it in a way إن احنا we can target different segments. It's not necessarily bound by only those who got a credit from a bank and their payment behavior. لا احنا we assess حاجات تانية كتير قوي بتحدد انه the maximum amount the user can join and the slots available for that user as well. فده اول filtration يعني to minimize the risk. زائد ان احنا we build our own provisioning and reserve system. فحسب كل new circle launched by the system we need to create زي provision زي يعني تأمين كأننا we're self-insuring the model just to make sure that we cover any potential late payment or default until we collect الفلوس من اليوزر. وطبعا كل user بيبقى ماضي contracts وضمانات وكده. There's also a very strong legally binding contract and documents عامة for every new user. زائد ان احنا we didn't fully eliminate peer pressure. We still kept the peer pressure in a way in the app, so that's another edge يعني to make sure انه it's public circles, but برضو at the end of the day there are recommendations, there are public profiling, there are specific things in the experience of the app to make sure بس انه we still have that edge of peer pressure that enforces people ان هم يدفعوا ويبقوا عارفين ان others معتمدين على القسط. It's not like an institution with billions. مش هتفرق بالقسط بتاعي. لا, we make sure that people understands that enough. Yeah.
Interesting. Like even with like we still need peer pressure to kind of shame them basically to pay eventually, right?
بالضبط. فبنستعملها دي انه as an edge. احنا يعني دي ميزة الاوفلاين موديل معتمد عليها fully. يعني احنا برضو اما we want to digitize it, we don't want to eliminate it completely, although we connect people اللي مش لازم يعرفوا بعض, بس we do things in a way ان احنا بس we make sure ان that person feels the peer pressure one way or the other. يعني.
Okay, nice. My last question, basically, how do you see the future of MoneyFellows or the concept of your business model? Where do you see it going?
هنكسر الدنيا.
Well domination, huh?
يعني where I see يعني at least يعني أصغر طموح عندنا يعني إن إحنا إن شاء الله we dominate at least الأوفلاين روسك موديل. الناس ما عادتش محتاجة تتقابل وتجمع وتقعد شهر بتلاقي السلوتس أو يعني we think we can actually convince يعني كتير من أو almost all يعني ده يعني عاوزين نبقى realistic بس إن إحنا بس existing offline model into an online version. وطبعا ده الجمعية is just a core product. احنا as we go بقى الجيرني دي احنا we're building a credit scoring system especially for people who are الناس ما بيبقوش عندهم score يعني data elsewhere. They cannot actually access financial services عامة elsewhere وكده. فاحنا we think we're also a credit scoring business. بس we're actually launching a few add-ons to the product. حاجات savings بقى, حاجات consumer financing products تشتري بالقسط, والحاجات دي كلها are all add-ons to our core جمعية product عامة يعني.
Right. I mean, to me, when I look at it, I feel it's, I mean, although it's an old concept, but because, you know, I think when it was invented, there was no banking system or financial institutions. Families and friends had to rely, the community had to rely on itself economically. So, and I think now moving forward with all the issues we're having with financial institutions and banking, probably this kind of concept would come back at a good time right now by democratizing our financial connections, I would say, and our financial reliance on banks and financial institutions, and just rely on this online community that we kind of establishing or using technology to help us trust each other. So to me, I see a lot of potential in this product, and I believe now, although you mentioned Egypt, but you still have plans to kind of move beyond Egypt as well, right? Yeah. I mean, for Silverline community, we, you know, most of the community are creatives and in the cultural sectors, and we always kind of want that kind of support to each other. And that model, you know, we believe as hosts of this platform, that could come in at one point and kind of facilitate creating money circles between filmmakers or the film crews to create their own films, or artists to create their own galleries. So they're able to kind of do that with each other using such a business model and such a technology. So I feel like there's a lot of potential in that sense. So to wrap it up, Ahmed, we're gonna play a video. I'm not sure, Azza, is the video ready with you? Kind of show the demo on how it works. So Ahmed, if you can, as the video plays, just take us through the interface, because I feel it's very user friendly, and then we'll be open for questions. Azza, the floor is yours.
All right, login, sign up. يعني دي أول خطوة طبعا. We usually try to access يعني people's data من social media وكده عشان تحسن له السكور ونفهم البيرسونا. A user then gets to select from any عندنا 5 months, 7 months, 10 months circles، فبيختار المبلغ اللي هو بيدور عليه. بيبان له السلوتس الافيلبل بالنسبة له. في slots عليها incentives to join، ف we get to then يعني نختار السلوت المناسبة. April مثلا in that case. بنختار هندفع ازاي، card, wallet، فوري، salary deduction if the company is a member عندنا، و how would they receive the payout. Once that is all confirmed، اليوزر بيختار هيجيله العقد ازاي او هيمضي العقد ازاي، بيكونفيرم. في برضه ان هو يقدر يفيو العقد قبل ما يكونفيرم. I think يعني ده البيسك join process. بس يعني I think الفيديو ده is an existing user with an existing credit score وكده، بس the new users are usually required ان هم they upload documents in order to get verified. Documents زي بقى income verification of salary, of income, ساكن فين، we map كل واحد ساكن فين، ال average rent will purchase يعني. فبنقدر يعني اليوزر عنده a list of documents that he or she can upload for us to verify and accordingly assess ونديله زي a credit score يعني. فالفيديو اللي شفناه ده is just basically a join process of a circle for a user that already has a score يعني.
Okay, amazing. Well, Ahmed, this is like the end of our conversation. Thank you very much. I'm going to open the floor for Q&A. So I'm not sure from our attendees if you have any questions. And yes, Azza, the floor is yours to manage whoever's going to talk. Go ahead. Abdullah is raising his hand.
So far as the chat is concerned, there aren't any questions as of yet. So maybe we'll warm it up with a question from my side. Yes, Abdullah. Hold on. Let me. I think I can allow you to appear.
Abdullah, just take the
Just-
mute off your mic and ask your
Yeah.
question, please.
Perfect. Ahmed, أول شيء يعطيك العافية. Thank you so much for what you're doing. It reminds me also
Thanks,
of a
Abdul.
film that premiered in Berlin 2 years ago called Gameeya. ما بقى إذا بتعرفه. It's by Reem Saleh. And basically, it's a
No.
documentary about. It's actually an Egyptian documentary about the concept of the cooperative or Gameeya that happens in
ايه
Cairo.
ده بجد؟
It's nice.
ايه ده nice.
It's really
Please
great.
send it to me.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna send you. Actually, I'll send you the link info of the film, and I'll try to also introduce you to the
Okay.
filmmaker.
Great. حلو جدا.
Yeah.
يا ريت. that would be great.
Definitely.
فرحتنا. الناس عاملة دوكيومنتري على الموديل.
وكيم انت لبناني. We have a similar concept بلبنان. ما بعرف ان احنا عندنا بشمال something different. Yeah.
I never use it. I'm the son of Beirut. I think we have enough money to go around.
Exactly. But one of the things that made me realize this could actually be great for the creative economy sector is, as Joaquin pointed out, it democratizes the access of funds that we can have to realize our projects. But let's say if we want to apply it in on a project basis, how does MoneyFellow, let's say if I'm part of the circle and I want the money, do you have to investigate why I want the money, how I'm going to spend it, if it's going to go towards legal entities, or is this something covered in the legal contract?
So I think when it comes to يعني that's more of microfinancing مثلا أو حاجة إنه يعني it doesn't go to individuals, it goes يعني currently إحنا we assess individuals أكتر.
Okay.
But so we're actually thinking of a new product in نحن we can possibly build a model to assess individuals أو founders مثلا financial health business plans أو ال projects عامة. That's something we've been thinking of صراحة. You're right يعني hopefully we can make it happen إن احنا نطلع ب proper model to make sure إن احنا risk is as low as possible بالنسبة لنا وفي نفس الوقت we can support يعني companies عامة إن هي تاخد the initial seed من MoneyFellows definitely.
Yeah, I think like some kind of a system where it's a marriage between what Kickstarter is and what MoneyFellow is and what Silverline is. So you have the group of individuals that are on our platform that want to have access to funds from the current members to fund certain projects, as opposed to giving out money or cash out to individuals. So it'll be interesting to see how this could develop maybe in the future.
Inshallah, خلاص. Let's stay in touch. Hopefully we'll find something.
Definitely. Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you, Abdullah.
Thanks, Abdullah. Any more questions, Azza, you have?
No, not as of yet. But if I could ask a question to you, Ahmed.
Sure.
Will this, by any chance, be able to incorporate cryptocurrency? Since we're going digital, let's go all the way.
Why?
Because why not?
هطلع بقى أنا اللي أسأل why بقى.
German why comes out.
لا يعني ما أعرفش يعني صراحة بس قصدي يعني السيجمنت اللي بيعملوا جمعية eventually if cryptocurrency is almost in every household well segments that we serve وكده it could make sense. It could make sense for regulatory purposes but at the end of the day احنا we look at consumer يعني الكاستمر محتاج دي ولا لا will it solve a pain بالنسبة له or not where there isn't like 100% a clear link يعني eventually hopefully it could but to the segment أو ال type of customer أو persona اللي احنا we serve دلوقتي cryptocurrency is alien بالنسبة لهم و probably مش هيفهموها فهنعقدها وهنصعبها بس hopefully تبقى دي موجودة في كل حتة وندخل بقى بالدولارات والكريبتوكرنسيز والحاجات.
خليها للألمان الكريبتو كارنسي حاليا.
Great.
عظيم. Ahmed, basically, sorry, Azza, you were saying, is there any more you'd like to ask?
I was just making a side joke, Lala. Just moving on.
All right. Very well. So our time is up, Ahmed. I really enjoyed this conversation. I thank you very much for your time. On behalf of the co-host as well, and on behalf of everyone who's present, thank you for those insightful information. We wish you all the best in growing your company, and we hope we will find even more creative solutions coming up along the way. So thank you, and we wish you a good time.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.